There were some things in the first half that I thought we did well. The second half obviously was very, very, very below what our expectations are and what we're capable of. So the second half was something that we need to address. We've been working at it this week in practice in terms of tackling and understand the technique and understand the urgency in which we need to play every single snap.
Do you feel like the group was just simply kind of worn down in the second half? Did they seem tired, or was that the factor?
I don't think it had anything to do with physical fatigue. I think I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think our top snap player was right around 56 or 57. I think we had 62 actual snaps with 69 on the game and 7 penalties or non-play. So I can't think that physical. That was it. We just have to play with greater urgency throughout the duration of the game.
Leo had a pretty good game. What did you see from him on film, and how can you build off of this moving forward?
He played with good energy. I thought he played with very good eyes. He saw a lot of things happen in the backfield. I thought he tackled as physically as I've seen him tackle. There's still a lot of things for him to clean up. But I would agree with you. He showed up, and he showed some flashes of playmaking ability. So that was encouraging to see.
I know there's a lot of youth in the secondary, but what did you see from that group?
We got to have guys that continue to play the technique, and then ultimately, football is a game of when the ball's in the air, you got to win your matchup, and I need to do a better job of coaching them, and they need to do a better job of when they get those opportunities to make the plays. There were a lot of opportunities. We have to make the plays to win the game, and we need to continue to stress that. We have been stressing it, and I think the guys have understood what we're working on and what we're continuing to work on.
First game.
Go ahead, David. I'm sorry.
Now that Shard and Jamoral have played a full game there, is it easier to show them what they do, what they don't do, and show it for real?
Yeah, I think anytime you can watch yourself, do something like that, I think it's hard to watch somebody else and learn a lot because you don't know exactly what they were thinking. As a football player, I think so much of how you play is between your ears and what your thoughts were before the ball was snapped. If you identified any splits or any tendencies. So as they gain experience, we should see improvement. It's just how fast that experience and how fast that improvement come along.
How do you think they played in the first game?
I wouldn't say, anybody played great or anybody played horrible. I think what's important is it's the collection of 11 guys out there, and we all need to get better, and I'm the very first one that needs to improve.
First game with your staff. What lessons did you guys maybe learn about each other in this season opener?
I wouldn't say that we learned any lessons with each other. We've been through several scrimmage situations, and all the situations that come up have been overly talked about, in terms of third down, red zone, all those different situations have been, we've talked about quite a bit. So I don't think really anything came upon that was new, in terms of knowing each other.
When you say you need to improve, when you look, what's the one thing you say, hey, I wish I did that better when looking back?
There were some third downs that, we had some success early, some sacks and some tackles for loss. I think we ended up with, 10, 11, 12 minus yardage plays, which were positive things. But there's a couple plays later in the game, the 3rd and 12, I believe, in the fourth quarter, that, if I had back, I would, when the result's not what you want, most things in life you go back and want to tweak something here or there.
When you get players like Nick James and Jeffrey back in there initially for the year, do you see that taking pressure off of the secondary and defensive end? Do you see the defense flowing more with those guys?
I don't know if when the ball's in the air, the ball's in the air. I don't know if any particular defensive lineman is going to, I think it can speed the ball coming out, or there's some certain things like that. But when the ball's in the air, the guys, the back seven, linebackers, safeties, corners, that's their moment of truth. So anytime that you get quality players back, that's always, a positive for us. But I can't say that it's going to directly impact, some guys in the back end.
What do you see from South Carolina's offense, especially now it's a new staff?
It's they've done a good job of implementing the quarterbacks. The McElwain young kid that is very talented. And they got him in the game early, and as a true freshman, there's a huge learning curve for him. But you can tell how talented he is, and you can tell when they got him in, they must be very excited about his future. Orth did a nice job, and then they have 89. They had, I think, 10, 11, almost 13 targets for him, the true freshman out there. So they got some good skilled players surrounding them, and I think their staff has done a nice job of identifying what their strengths are and playing to them.
What stands out about Orth when you see him on film?
I think he's a gritty kid. He's a guy that I bet people have been against him for a long time, and he just keeps competing, and he just keeps finding a way. And I would imagine he's a guy in that locker room that a lot of people respect. And every time he goes out, he'll give it his all.
Within the secondary, it appeared at least that guys were one step away from those big plays. Did you see that? And if so, what does that tell you when they're just a step away? Is that a positive or negative?
Well, I think it's just, I don't think it's either. I think it just kind of showcases where we need to improve. It's, sometimes you're a step away, and that might be actually a great play to recover or be there. So there's so much to the intricacies in the leverage and the timing of the pass defense and how one player's technique impacts somebody else's. Obviously you want to be closer than further away on a lot of those, but we just got to keep practicing. We got to stay positive, and we got to keep investing in the players that are going to help us win games.
We talked to A.J. Jefferson, some of the other veterans. They're telling us they kind of felt like they needed to step up their leadership. And have you seen that in practice the last few days?
Yeah, I mean, those guys that you would expect to step up, they have, and they're defining moments, and we're all very frustrated with the result from Saturday, and that's something that I think for us to acknowledge. I don't think it's something that, it happened last week, you can't talk about it anymore. I think it's something that needs to be fresh, it needs to sting, it needs to make you, needs to motivate you, and I think those guys need to be part of the solution. We challenge them on defense. There's problem finders and there's problem solvers in the world, okay? And the world doesn't need more problem finders. We need guys that can solve problems, that can identify it, that can point a finger at themselves, take accountability, and correct the things that need to be corrected.
In trying to correct those things as a first-time defensive coordinator, how's that process going from seeing the results in week one and then trying to adjust for them in week two?
I don't know if Mike is a big deal about being the first-time coordinator in that. As a position coach or with all the different programs, you're always assessing your individual room to make progress. So I think is this role, it's more of a collaboration of identifying and talking to T-Buck and talking to Mo and talking to Bake about, hey, what can we do at your position to get those guys better? So it's more of a, not administratively, but just collectively of finding, okay, in the back end, what are we going to be good at?
So it's kind of a trust thing, trusting their opinions.
It's a trust, and as one coordinator, you're not going to be in the corners meeting room. You're not going to be in the corners individual. And the setup here is I'm coaching the linebackers, so there needs to be a great deal of trust. And I think those three guys are fine coaches, and I'm lucky that they're on staff here. But you're right, it is a trust, and they have great expertise and they have great experience, and collectively we need to get better.
When the young guy like Fletcher got reps Saturday, what are the expectations?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
A young guy like Fletcher Adams got a lot of reps Saturday. Sorry. What are the expectations for him going forward throughout the season?
I mean, it's really the same as everybody else. It's not a good answer, but just continued improvement. And then when you get your opportunities, you got to make it hard for us to take you off the field. Every opportunity for a guy that is fighting for those opportunities has to be 100% in terms of effort, in terms of what we're asking them to do. And the more often you do it correctly and the better you get at it, the more opportunities you'll continue to earn.